Hi, and welcome back to Food Farms and Chefs. And I am so happy to reintroduce you to one of our friends of the show, a friend of mine. I think Ray Sheehan, you were one of my first interviews ever on our show when it was named a different name. But welcome back to Food Farms and Chefs.
Hey, thank you so much for having me on. This is great.
Yeah. I mean, we love having you on because not only are you a chef, you're a cookbook author, like now you've turned into a brand ambassador. You have so like I don't want to like delve into everything and spoil or everything, but let our listeners know what you've been up to because we've had you on previous episodes so they can get a wealth of information from your previous guest appearances on our show. But you always have a lot going on, and I'm always excited to share what you have, your experiences. Sometimes, maybe we can sneak in a recipe or two, but what have you been up to?
Oh boy, that's a loaded question. I mean, yeah, I do. If I don't have a lot going on, then I'm kind of like bumming. So, in the for a long time and for over 25 years, I've been working in the food business in restaurants, in pretty much every different facet. From I started as a busboy to dishwasher up to food service director. I had the barbecue Buddha brand of sauces and seasonings for about 8 years. And we won, a ton of awards for the products, had them in a lot of stores. And then we ended up opening a restaurant. I think that was probably around the last time that I came on. We opened a restaurant, and that was tough. So we ended up closing the restaurants, unfortunately, and so that was a little rough. But then things started really picking up again, and I would say one of the bright spots last year was I became a featured contributor and a frequent guest host of the Baseball and Barbecue podcast, which was like always. I think I told you one time off air, like I just really would love to a shot at, you know, uh, getting on a podcast and like being on the other side of the mic. So it was pretty cool being able to interview people, and it's not as easy as it looks. You make it look very easy, but so I started working after that with some bigger brands. I took a corporate chef job, which was not so much for me, that position. But working with bigger brands like Bear Mountain barbecue pellets, and wood chunks, and forge to table knives as a spokesperson, and creating content and getting my recipes out there. So I just try to like kind of stay busy, and like I said, like you said, I always have something going on.
Yeah. And I mean, I Gene thankfully has joined us as well, and he's, well knowledged in
Hey,
what
G-
you
Hey,
what what you've done in the past. So and he's another chef too. So the two of you can go back and forth on your stories just because both of you stay so busy.
well, that's the very nature of this industry. It's, if you're not going 100 miles an hour, you're not really going. And, unfortunately, or I guess, unfortunately for our bodies and oftentimes for our families, that is the very nature of what we do. If we're not out there really impacting things and trying new things and learning more and pushing ourselves to the limit, then we're probably not doing what we're put on this earth to do. And that is, create and teach and give people, the joy. The difficult thing about a chef, as you know, is that, our job is to give wonderful experiences to other people. So it means we have to play or work when everybody else is playing. But we get great rewards from that. And, you know, with you, it's really wonderful because you get to deal with directly every day one of the greatest things on earth, and that's barbecue.
Definitely.
You know,
And you're so right. I mean, I was going 100 miles an hour, and then the restaurant closed, and right before, right, as we were doing the restaurant, I sold the trademark to Barbecue Buddha, and so I, in effect, closed my sauce and seasoning business that was very successful. So going 100 miles an hour and now feeling like you're going nowhere, it really took a toll on my mental health. And it took me some time to, do some soul searching and realize what I really wanted to do. And, you know, I got to a point where I felt like I didn't come this far with the business just to come this far. Like, I won these awards. I got into, like, over 100 stores and doing all these product demos and, appearances on your show and on PA Live and like all these different really fun, cool things. And then that like kind of went away. So I realized that that was really my calling. And, to basically to announce it on your show, I'm getting the band, or I should say the brand, back together. And I am bringing back my barbecue products under a new brand, the Chef Ray Sheehan brand. I'm gonna double down on any name recognition from my cookbooks and from my experience in the food industry to bring back these award-winning barbecue products, which will be the core, but naming it as such, I don't have to worry about any trademark infringement or um, I don't have to be boxed into just barbecue, even though that's going to be the core is the barbecue products that won me the awards. But this way, if we want to expand the line on, we make a great dressing or a different sauce to go with something or different seasoning, it doesn't kind of like confuse the customer on the label.
Yeah. And that's big. That's exciting news.
Yeah, I mean, it was like one day it was just like somebody, like Billy Joel's new song, "Turn the Light Back On." I have a friend of mine who has been, talking to me and in my ear and how, this is what you do. This is what you're good at. You're a creator. What are you doing? And, he just kind of encouraged me, pushed me, nudged me, helped me to see the light and to see, help me find my way back. And I mean, it wasn't easy. I mean, mental health especially in the restaurant industry, is something that I think it touches us all. And it really, you can, you meditate and go for walks and like no one, it's like when someone tries to tell you to quit smoking, you can't just quit, or any addiction, or you just can't just be better. It has to come from within. And I had to find my purpose all over again.
Well,
Well,
I'm very glad to hear that you're coming back with a brand based about your cookbooks because I'm a used cookbook collector. I have, you know, shelves upon shelves of cookbooks, dating back, a long time of and to modern classics and you know a, along with Rakelin's book and the barbecue Bible. I put your books at the top of the list for anybody wanting to dabble into barbecue and learn more and really just explore what's out there on every level. So it's so exciting for me to hear that you're doing that, because you truly are an expert and understand all that goes into great barbecue, from the marinades and rubs to the sauces to the style to the smoking style to the technique, everything that goes into it. And you can pick up a piece of beef or a piece of pork and look at it and know how to adjust your seasoning to fit that particular piece of meat because of the marbling and the fat and everything else. That's all something that you pass on, and it's so important for you to continue doing what you do. So this is truly exciting news.
Thank you so much. That's a huge compliment. And, you know, I really like to offer value to people, whether it's, I do a lot of recipes. So whether it's like my work in Barbecue News Magazine, or on the Baseball and Barbecue podcast, or now a bunch of my recipes are going to be featured in Brian Baumgartner from The Office, his new barbecue book, Seriously Good Barbecue Cookbook. Whether it's any of those things, like anytime I create a recipe, I want the reader to be able to pick it up and be able to get from A to B and be able to understand the why, and that we are creating layers of flavor.
Well, and that's the thing that everyone misses that you communicate so well is that, it's not simply a sauce or a rub, or it's not simply you know, a wood chip or what you're using. It's an entire process to be able to build all those different layers. And that's the same with any great food, is that there should be layers of flavor. And you truly address that. And, something that I find really exciting because that's a tough thing to communicate. And you do it very eloquently, and in your recipes, do it very scientifically, but also from the heart.
Thank you very much. I do. I approach it. I guess sometimes I wear my heart on my sleeve, but the end result is that someone can pick up my book, or a recipe that I did somewhere, and then they can share it with their friends or their family. And then it could become something that they, end up using at their, like, every year they might do an event, say at the lake house or at their charity cook off, and maybe they'll use the recipe and maybe it'll have legs and continue on.
Off of
Absolutely. Go ahead.
that, and obviously, Gene, you can contribute to this. I've done recipe development in my past too, but everything kind of takes layers, and like you said, the layers of flavor. With your rebrand, and that you're self-branding now, which is phenomenal. And now that you can expand upon it, will we look forward to a new cookbook that utilizes different things outside of just the barbecue sauces?
I mean, I have a couple cookbook proposals that I'm working on. One I'm trying to desperately finish, but it's barbecue related. Down the line, there is one that I'm working with, actually another brand that has discussed doing, and it's a ingredient specific cookbook. Um, so basing the recipes off of a single ingredient. So yeah, I mean, and I love these people. I love working with them, and I could see that coming down the road. And their ingredient is an umami flavor bomb. So yeah, I mean, I can definitely see that. I don't know if it would be just my own cookbook at this point that wasn't barbecue, but definitely I would help them. Yeah.
Well, maybe Gene can pop in, because I know Gene wants to write something as well. So maybe you and Gene can collaborate.
Hey, you never know.
There's lots of possibilities. But on the exciting news, you know, it's spring training,
Yeah.
barbecue, baseball, it's here. It's time. So, what are you going to suggest now as we get ready to go into baseball season? What are you thinking for barbecue pairings at different stadiums? So I know you are a huge baseball fan, and you do all that. So obviously you've been to many stadiums here in Philadelphia. We have bowls. Um, you know, it's a phenomenal barbecue for a stadium down in Camden Yards. They have an amazing barbecue place. Tell me a couple places that I should be putting on my list for a great baseball and barbecue.
Hmm. I mean, you mentioned the one at Camden Yards, Boog's Barbecue.
Oh,
That's
absolutely.
really that's one of my favorites because it's kind of different. I mean, the pit beef barbecue, the the white tiger sauce. I mean, it's not your everyday sweet barbecue sauce. Totally different, and it's really now with barbecue, I think that now that it's coming more into the Northeast, it's more about the experience. It's not just the, okay, we're bringing all these flavors, but it's kind of getting mashed up. Mike's barbecue in Philly is phenomenal. So that would definitely be on my list. Boog's barbecue, if you were out in, Camden Yards, definitely. But it's about creating experiences that, you see on social media, Mike's sold out, sold out, sold out. So it's the experience. It's kind of like Franklin barbecue, where you go and get online and you're meeting people in the community as you're waiting online for your food. So it's really about the experience and getting out to the ballpark now. And when I had my restaurant, one of the things that we did was we created a baseball and barbecue hot dog. It's like a stadium dog, and we put like crazy toppings, a little pulled pork, some bacon, some beans. I mean, it was like outrageous. So I'm always looking for stuff an excuse to have a good stadium dog too.
Well, it's funny because during baseball season here, we at the brewery we do a what we call a baseball pizza, and it's literally we slice up some hot dogs and put that on the pizza, put a couple other ingredients on there, a little bit of onion, and it's just such a wonderful, wonderful combination. And I know it sounds terrible, but it is absolutely delicious. Getting back to that experience thing, and I think back many years because I want to say that Camden Yards was probably one of the first barbecue experiences in the country for a stadium. And I remember going down and going to the stadium. And, as you're walking up, you see the smoke rising from the pits before you even get into the stadium. And it starts to give you that little bit of a warm feeling, and everybody was excited. Oh, we're going to go in and we're going to get the crab cakes that they sell in the stadium. I'm like, no, 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 beeline to the barbecue. Like, look at that. You can smell it for a block away, and
Oh,
it just
yeah.
draws you closer. And that experience, that warmth, that it just adds to the game because baseball is that, all American, sport, all American pastime. And then when you team it up with that barbecue and from a block away, the excitement's building. It's just like it's just really a different experience.
Yeah, I mean, if you have a chance and you get to go up to the baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown, not far from there is Oneonta, New York, home of Brooks House of Barbecue, which is they won a James Beard Award for being like an industry classic, and they're famous for their Cornell chicken. And you can same thing, you can see and smell, you can see the smoke from miles away, and as you're pulling up, it's enveloping you and you're smelling it, and it's like you can't drive anywhere else, you're heading towards it now. And it's one of the best barbecue experiences you're going to find up that way. Especially it's great if you go, like I said, if you go to the Baseball Hall of Fame, then why not take a ride over to Brooks House of Barbecue in Oneonta? Really fantastic.
Been there, and I believe Amherst, we're short on time now.
Yes, we are short on time now. But I love when Ray joins us. I love, your input too, Gene, obviously, and how we bounce off each other. But Ray, thank you so much for joining us on Food Farms and Chefs. And where can people find you right now?
Right now on social media, Chef Ray Sheehan. That's Sheehan, and that's across Facebook, X, Instagram. Chef Ray Sheehan, and my website coming up in the next couple weeks will be raysheehan.com.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
And we will be back every single week with a brand new episode of Food Farms and Chefs. So tune in. Hi, and welcome back to Food Farms and Chefs. And I'm very happy to reintroduce everyone to Ariane Bonez, who is joining us from Dooney's Pub. Ariane, thank you for joining us on Food Farms and Chefs.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us.
Really, it's a wonderful pleasure to speak to you again. And I know you were gearing up last time we talked for an incredible St. Patrick's Day weekend and everything going on. And it seems we're back at the same spot again, and you're gearing up for another absolutely spectacular weekend ahead. And right now the weather looks like it's going to cooperate with us, which is such a wonderful thing. So, tell us before we get into some more details, what's in store for St. Patty's Day and the weekend ahead.
Yeah, we're really, really excited that the weather's looking good for the whole weekend, which will be nice. So we are planning to have live music at both locations all weekend. In Delran, we're starting on Thursday. We have a nice little Irish trio. They're called We Cup of Three. And they're starting on Thursday. And then we have the Giuliano brothers on Friday night, which is always a good time. And then we have Ray Coleman on Saturday night. And on Sunday, we're going to start early at 9 a.m. with our kegs and eggs in Delran only. And then we have the rest of the day, we have bands, Irish dancers, bagpipers, and all of the fun things that the day brings. It's usually a good time. We're so excited about it. And then in Voorhees, we have Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday all day with live music in the same situation with the bagpipers and the dancers, and then everything else. We just don't have the kegs and eggs in Voorhees, but everything else would be good to go.
It's funny. We at my brewery, we started a brunch, and you would think that early in the morning people were resistant to do that, but it's I sell so many Bloody Mary flights at 10 o'clock in the morning. People coming in or having some good beer with breakfast. It's really a great combination and a lot of fun, and just love that you do that, and it's such a great way to start and celebrate the weekend and things like that. What kind of food specials you going to be doing? Anything different than you normally, or you got something hot on tap or on tap? I guess.
So for kegs and eggs, kind of like you're saying, like we usually have like right about 9 o'clock, there's like a line of 50 people outside waiting for us to open the door. So that's exciting. And then for kegs and eggs, we'll do breakfast. We'll have our shamrock bagels. We have like our green pancakes. We have eggs and all of that. We'll start off with, for the first hour, we won't be able to sell alcohol because it's the township ordinance on Sundays. But starting at 10 o'clock, we'll be pushing out all of, the favorites. We're probably going to have 50 Irish coffees lined up ready to go because that seems to be the trend. That's how we all like to start our day. And then of course, like the regular, the Guinness is going to be pouring all day, the Harps, the Smittix, all of those things, the green beers. But then for food, we have corned beef and cabbage all month. That we like to run the special all month in case you can't get here on St. Patrick's Day to try it. And then we have our Reuben spring rolls. They seem to be a fan favorite. We also are running that all month. We have our steak sandwich. It's called a Dublin steak sandwich. It's really good. It's the sandwich of my dreams. It has melted blue cheese crumbles and peppers, mushrooms, onions mixed with the steak. It's really, really good. Yeah, that's what we're doing for the month. Exciting.
That sounds like an absolutely delicious sandwich.
Yeah.
There's something to be said. I hosted an Irish festival yesterday at our facility, and we had about 400 people there, and it was just, what a wonderful experience. When you bring people together for St. Patrick's Day, it's different than any other type of celebratory holiday through the year. It's just such a common, I guess it's true. Everybody's a little Irish on St. Patty's Day weekend, and
Mhm.
everybody is just happy and cheerful, and there's no attitudes, and it's just a wonderful experience. What do you, having been in this business as long as you have as well, attribute that and think, do you agree that it's different than other holidays throughout the year?
Yeah, I 100% agree. I've never seen anything like it. It's obviously for the last 12 years I've been here. It's always been this amazing celebration. Everyone's wearing green, everyone's happy. It must be. I'm attributing it to having an Irish coffee at 9 a.m., honestly, because that's the only explanation at this point. Everyone's like the music's so fun, everyone wants to dance. We have throughout the day, we have like we're a family restaurant, so children, everyone's dressed up, they're wearing tutus, they're wearing their beads. Everyone's just like so excited and so lighthearted. It's just it is a lighthearted celebration. There's nothing heavy behind it. Everyone's just here to have fun.
Yeah, I agree. And it's just, it really is a family celebration. It's stuff for everybody. And your restaurant is very much that. I mean, your food is absolutely delicious. You have options for everybody to eat. Um, do you have a secret to your Irish coffee, or is it, just, the recipe's been around forever? Anything different about yours than, what a lot of people will serve?
So we have the regular kind, and we have this special one this year that we started selling last month. It's called a Guinness Irish coffee, and we have this it's a Guinness simple syrup that we make with Guinness, and we put it into the Irish coffee, and we make regular Irish coffee. We use a little Guinness simple syrup. We use the Roe and Co whiskey, and on top of the whipped cream, we drizzle the Guinness simple syrup on top again, just to give it like a little extra flavor, and it's delightful.
Well, that's a really creative and unique style to that. And that's absolutely something I think I have to come over and try to get a sample of this weekend.
Yeah.
It's a little bit different because that's just taking it to a whole new level there and doing that. You
Mhm.
know, what is your biggest selling beer on St. Patrick's Day weekend?
Oh, it's definitely Guinness by a lot.
And it's funny because I am not a big heavy stout person. I we just finished brewing a Irish red. Excuse me, I'm sorry, an Irish red, and I like a good lighter. There's a lot of great lighter Irish beers out there, but yeah, I see everybody gravitating to the Guinness, and that big head that you get off of there, and it's just a really, really, really unique product to have. Now, for breakfast, do you do anything like a corned beef hash or anything like that? I know your Shamrock bagels are the big hit over there.
hmm We do have cannon potatoes, which are like the traditional Irish mashed potatoes with cabbage in it, and we throw a little bit of corned beef in it too, just to give it the flavor that everyone wants, and that goes well with breakfast, obviously, because potatoes go well with it. So.
Well, I know Amherst is a big fan of your restaurant. So, Amherst, when you've been there, what have it been your favorites?
I've had your shepherd's pie. Like I'm a stickler for shepherd's pie. I've made it from scratch on numerous occasions, and I've had it at different restaurants, and it's so, other restaurants have been such a letdown. But I've had shepherd's pie from your place, and keeping with the theme, it's a perfect, celebration for St. Patty's Day. Is to have it, and it's, hearty, it's filling, but it has so much flavor.
You know, it's the shepherd's pie is amazing. It's here all year round. But can I tell you, our bangers and mash, I've never had bangers and mash like I've had here. Like
Oh,
we
really?
have, yes. I know it's not the dish that people go for all the time, but it is like my favorite item on our menu.
See, that surprises me because I feel like a lot of people kind of like shy away from bangers and mash because they don't know exactly what it is. And I mean it's simple, Gene, too. But like I feel like there's a lot of people who are like, "Oh, what's bangers and mash?" I don't know, but it's all about like the sauce, like including like the quality of the meat that you utilize. So, um, but not that it's related to, Ireland or oh sorry, St. Patty's Day, but I've also had your tuna tacos, which were like phenomenal.
Mhm.
So yeah, so for our listeners out there, if you haven't visited Dooney's, like there's a lot of different menu items that they have. I've tried several of them, including like your pretzel, your appetizer with the pretzel and the warm the warm cheese. I don't know if it's beer cheese, so I was about to say that, but I know it's a white cheese that you serve it with.
Yeah,
Um,
it's not beer cheese. We tried the beer cheese, but I think that the crowd prefers the white cheese sauce, so we use that instead now.
Gotcha. Because I know that I went there with my nephew and my brother, and I think my nephew and I kind of fought over the dipping the cheese, but you guys are always packed. So I can't imagine how packed you must be for St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah, it's definitely like a lot of people get standing room only, but we do open our private events room for seating as well, and the bar in the private events room. So there's extra space on St. Patrick's Day, for people to spread out, and then we just bring over, we connect the band to a different speaker, and then we play it in here in the private events room as well, so that everyone can be a part of like the whole environment, the whole, you know, the
Yeah.
music experience as well as
So
being.
let's get back to the bangers and mash discussion for a moment.
Uh-huh.
I agree with you. It's a dish that people need to experience, and it really is. I mean, obviously, it's the quality of the sausage that's used, but the cooking technique, the what the braising solution is, what exactly how it's cooked. I mean, I'm with you. When I go to Irish restaurants, that's kind of my judge of the quality of an Irish restaurant. If they can do a really good banger and mash, um, it says a lot because while we all say anybody can make mashed potatoes, farthest thing from the truth. I mean, a good quality mashed potato that has the right amount of flavor, the right amount of salt, just a little bit of pepper, the richness that goes with it. That's a skill. Growing up, I grew up. My parents didn't have a lot growing up, and in that process, mashed potatoes were something common, and my dad made them and learned to make really great mashed potatoes. So I appreciate that when I go to a great Irish place and get really good bangers and mashed and really good, because you can do roasted potatoes with corned beef, you can do other stuff, but to have that combination, what an absolutely delightful thing. And although I have not had yours, I have to come over and try it out. You said that.
You really have to. Definitely my favorite item on the menu.
And I'm gonna plug your shepherd's pie again too. You have to also try their shepherd's pie because it's phenomenal. It incorporates, the same sauce like I think as well. So, and your mashed potatoes.
The mashed potatoes are a part of that one too. But
Uh,
I mean, obviously too, like I know it's Lent and a lot of like one of our biggest sellers is the fish and chips, another big Irish English dish that people love. We've been selling that like hotcakes because people aren't eating meat as much during this period. So that's a good plug.
Well, and
um,
again, that's another dish too that people don't. Yeah, a lot of people serve fish and chips. They throw it on their menu during Lent, but they don't do the little things to make sure it's they either buy something frozen, it's not hand battered, it's the chips aren't just right. So, and I know one thing about your business is that you do take that extra step and make that quality product. You do not take shortcuts, and I appreciate that as a chef and as a consumer.
Thank you very much. It's nice to hear from you.
Amherst, I'm sorry I cut you off there.
Oh, no, no, nothing. I was just gonna ask if you, because I know that you do the golf tournament, annually. I didn't know if you were doing anything associated with, St. Patrick's Day with any of the charitable foundations.
So for not for St. Patrick's Day, but for the month of April, so our beloved house Irish singer, Ray Coleman, he has a daughter, she has autism, Keely. And so for the entire month of April, we donate $1 to their cause for every Guinness that's sold. And we'll do uh, two different dates, one at each location with like he'll come in and he'll sing and we'll do like a fundraiser that day specifically. And then
Okay.
we'll just do like a whole month of donations for the autism cause. Because it's March is or April is Autism Awareness Month. So that's what we have coming up for that.
That's always a good thing. And I love when, restaurants and restaurateurs give back to a charitable foundation.
We try
It
to be as involved as we can, for sure.
Yeah. And it matters to have community involvement too, just because you are part of the community.
Mhm. Yeah, we have a lot of causes that come and ask us for baskets and donations for their own auctions, and we try to do as much as we can for that. And then, of course, as you mentioned, the Olivia Rose Foundation for Children with Cancer, we do a big golf outing in June every year to raise funds for that cause. And we started last year with the autism with Ray in April, and we also have like a package for dine and donate. So when people like schools and things like that, when they want to do a fundraiser that way, we offer a dine and donate package for that. Usually we do a few a month, depending on how many people come up to us. But we try to stay active.
That's good. And so I don't know if Jean has any other questions, but we are running a little low on time. So I do appreciate that you joined us again. Jean.
Just wanted to wish you a very happy St. Patty's Day for you and your staff and a very successful weekend ahead.
Thank you so much. We hope to see you guys around.
Of course. And you can find Dooney's at what is your website and socials?
Our website is dooniespub.com. There you'll be able to find all of our menu information. You can also inquire for private events. You can order online for pickup or delivery, and all of other information you're looking for. And then our Instagram is at Dooney's Pub. Again, all the information will be on there. Facebook.com/Dooney's Pub. And I think that's it.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a good one, guys.
You
Take
too.
care.
Bye.
And we will be right back after this short break. Hi, and welcome back to Food Farms and Chefs. We are very, very excited to introduce you to Jack McGarry, who is the founder of and managing partner, of The Dead Rabbit. You're also an author and you own a consulting company and so much more. But thank you for joining us, Jack, and welcome to Food Farms and Chefs.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to chat with you all today.
So you started into the culinary industry back in Belfast, where you're from, right?
Yeah, I started when I was 15 years old. And I was constantly badgering my mom for money, so she finally relented one day and said, "You need to get a job to pay for all these things that you wanted." And thankfully, my father's side of the family, he was in pubs. They were in pubs for generations, so I was able to get a start as a glass collector, or what you guys over here would call a barback, when I was 15. And yeah, we just went from there.
And you had met one of your friends who you I think you're still associated with Sean, but not in like he did split from and start his own bar that's in South Carolina, but you had met him and you guys kind of collaborated on a lot of different things throughout the years. So I don't want to not give him a nod as well.
Yeah, I mean, we worked together for close to 15 years. So it was obviously a very formative and fruitful collaboration. But when I started working with Sean, I was 18 years old, and back then he would have been the foremost sort of cocktail authority in Ireland. And it was at that point where I really wanted to take the next step and become the very best that I could be and realize my fullest potential. So I'm very much from the mindset that steel sharpens steel. So in order to become the best or realize your best, you have to work with the best and work in the best environment. And when I worked with Sean, that's really what that was. I met a like-minded person, and from our time together in a merchant, we won and achieved a whole bunch. And that obviously opened the door to come to New York and open the Dead Rabbit. But as you said, our paths diverged in the past couple of years. But yeah, it's obviously a huge part of my story, and likewise with his story. So yeah, I look back at it with nothing but fondest of memories and nothing but the best wishes for his upcoming spot in Charleston.
Yeah. Now I know I feel like I'm gonna throw Gene, under the bus a little bit because I don't know how much prep work he did, but I read that you are all about the history of Ireland and expanding on that and opening up that world into the US, or at least, igniting a more of a passion for the history of Ireland and whatnot. Gene is a culinary historian, so he has a wealth of information always at the back of his hand. So I feel like the two of you could go back and forth, but you've written several books. I don't know how much of the historical information is included in the books that you've co-authored. But Gene, if you have any questions as far as, the history of Ireland or even the history of the original New York location, feel free to jump in.
Well, I'm just so happy to hear that somebody's actually talking about the food history of Irish food in Ireland and the culinary history of it, because it is much richer. People, get Irish and English oftentimes confused, and there's a lot of misconceptions, and there is a really rich culinary history to Ireland that needs to be told, and those stories passed on. And it is a very working class cuisine, which means that you have to have a technique to bring out the absolutely best flavors on cuts of meat that are oftentimes, what people would deem as a lesser quality meat. It's not a lot about filet. It's a lot about, bringing out flavors that exist and getting the most out of what you have. And it's a culture that did it so well. So what a wonderful thing, and kudos to you for bringing that to life and educating people, because everybody thinks that corned beef and cabbage is it, and there's so much more and such a great history. So tell us a little bit about that part of the process of what you're educating people on, and the story that you're telling.
Yeah, I mean, when we first opened the bar, the goal was very much, and there's a bit of a backstop to that. We opened the bar with the goal of modernizing the Irish pub and bringing the Irish pub into the 21st century. And what we mean by that is the Irish pub in Ireland. And this has obviously changed, and I'm employing heavy generalization here, and there's obviously exceptions to the rule. But Irish pubs in Ireland tend not to serve food, or if they serve food, it's a very narrow representation of Irish culture. They tend to be very rigid and stick to what they do really well, and that has led, unfortunately, to a lot of Irish pubs closing in Ireland because they have not moved, to use American vernacular, where the puck is going. Now with the Dead Rabbit, we seek to bring all the best pieces of Irish culture, but not just historical Irish culture, very much as well, blending that with contemporary Irish culture. And the perception of Irish food is very, very limited, as you said, to the like corned beef and cabbage and mashed potatoes and this type of stuff. And that definitely was representative, I guess, and Irish stews and stuff like that of an era of Ireland, and that era was 19th century, 20th century Ireland, and when we were on our knees as a society and as a economy and as a culture. But the cuisine of Ireland, the culture of Ireland across all mediums has markedly shifted. You know, we have some of the best restaurants, I'd say, in the world. We have some of the best produce in the world. And we have some of the best chefs and culinary talents in the world, you know. So we're really about showcasing that, and we're also about showcasing and challenging the Paddy whackery, if you will, of Irish culture across the arts, across music, across drinks. Because when we came to America, the other side of the Irish pub was very synthetic to us. It was not representative of contemporary Irish culture. So that's something that we're huge on in Dead Rabbit, and obviously with the whole goal of representing contemporary Irish culture, it sort of necessitated us growing beyond New York City, and growing into other cities across America to further achieve that mission of showcasing the absolute best of the best of Irish culture across all elements, across the hospitality, the arts, the music, the comedy, the crack, the food, you know, the beer, the whiskeys, the gins, the Irish creams. You know, there's so much there to showcase. So it's very exciting, and we feel like we've only scratched the surface of what we intend to do.
You know, one of the things that I always laugh about when people talk about Irish food is, you know, they'll talk about bangers and mash, and they'll talk about shepherd's pie, and they'll talk about corned beef and cabbage. And you never hear people talk about, oh, hold it, Ireland is a coastline. There's
Yeah,
water everywhere. Okay,
it's
like
It's crazy. It's crazy,
right,
and so
isn't it?
many people they don't realize that. They think of Ireland and they think of green, but if there's a color that's associated with Ireland, it should be blue because it's surrounded by ocean. You know.
Right, and you know, and you know, Irish salmon is some of the best salmon in the
Yeah.
world, and you know, so much of the food is related to the coastline and you know, being an island, and you never hear people talk about it. I just laugh when that occurs. One of the other things that you do uniquely is you're also very health conscious, in your planning and your meals and your menus and things like that. Two things that, you know, people don't really necessarily equate together. You know, Irish
Yeah.
food, Irish celebrations, and being health conscious and you know, doing the best that you can do for your body.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there, and it speaks to the earlier comment that I said with the go where the puck is going. You know, it's society, particularly my generation and definitely the generations below me. They consume things much differently than my generation and generally generations older than me. They drink less. They drink more broadly and more diversified, and the same with food. You know, they want to go out and have no and low options. They want to go out and have salads and bowls and really well looked after products and stuff like that. You know, so I think I just don't buy into this dogma. And there's so many people are keen to sort of marginalize and pigeonhole an Irish pub as like a dive bar or somewhere where you get fried food and shots, and it's these tacky places. You know, an Irish pub to me can be an elite place. It can be a sophisticated place. It can be a place for everyone. You know, on our door, as you walk in to the bar in the main hallway, we say we're inclusive of everyone and exclusive of no one. And you know, that doesn't just cover religion or sex or whatever creed or political opinion you hold. That it also refers more broadly to tastes and experiences that you wish to have. So we really make sure that the Irish pub is a third place. It's a place where you should seek to be restored and rejuvenated, and that really transcends just focusing on pints or Irish coffees and these things, albeit they're important, but also satisfying and satiating people that that are health conscious or sober curious or whatever they're into, you know, that we're able to give them as a curate an experience that we can give our people that want a great pint or a great pot pie, you know.
Well,
Um,
I,
oh,
I mentioned earlier on it, talking to somebody that there's something about St. Patrick's weekend, but Irish culture in general that is very rejuvenating. It's very much family. It's not while there's politics and everything else involved in the entire world, you coming together at an Irish pub at a good Irish restaurant, all that is left behind. And when you walk in, it's kind of the door closes and you're there to, share friendship and the human experience. And I think there's something about, Irish restaurants, Irish pubs, St. Patrick's weekend, St. Patrick's Day, and Irish culture that does that more so than 99% of the other, holidays of the year, cultures, or other types of experiences. And I don't know what to attribute that, but it really is just sharing that human experience and interacting and getting back to what life really should be about.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it goes right back to the sort of founding principles of Irish culture. We had the old Irish laws were known as the Brehon laws, and part of those laws we actually codified or codified our hospitality. So hospitality was if somebody turned up at your door, you opened the door, you made your table longer, you fed them, you housed them, and there was nothing that was meant to be. There was no fiscal element to it. You know, it was just part of the culture, and I believe that's permeated through every generation subsequent to the Brehon laws. And listen, as you said, there's no beating around the bush in terms of like we live in a hyper polarized time and politics sort of pervade everything. But my whole philosophy is underpinned by you walk past that piece of the mahogany and into the bar. It doesn't matter whether you're a right winger, a left winger, or a middle of the road person. As long as you come in and you abide by the respect, integrity, and inclusiveness and safety of the space and respect of the space, everybody's welcome. You know, the whole founding sort of thing of Ireland, you'll see it everywhere when you go there, is Ced Míle Fáilte. That means 100,000 welcomes, and that's our hospitality. It's not one welcome and selective hospitality. It's hospitality and inclusion for all, even if you hold different viewpoints and values and stuff like that. You know, so to me, that's what makes us so unique as a people and as a culture.
and I mean, you touched on a lot of different aspects of Ireland and culture and just humanity, like how people interact. But I'm going to pull us back into your actual, the dead rabbit. And touch base on the fact that you have multiple experiences that people can, you know, e- enjoy when they visit you, because you have, in your New York location, I don't know if you mirrored that in your other two locations, but I know that you have the tap room, the parlor, and the occasional room. Um, but you also like, which offers different, different atmospheres and different experiences. But it is, St. Patrick's Day weekend and coming up. And I'm correcting myself because I know you have an event that is going to last 9 days, and it's Paddy's, Paddys, not patties. So let our listeners know what to experience, what they're looking forward to with that.
Yeah, so again, we use every type of moment available to us to continue sharing our love of contemporary Ireland and Irish hospitality and the dynamic nature and vibrancy of contemporary Irish culture. Irish culture right now is very much having a moment. You need to look low further than what happened last night at the Oscars with Cillian Murphy winning Best Actor and Billie Eilish and Phineas, her brother, winning Best Song, and You know, we're really seeing the incredible stuff coming out of Ireland across all the mediums, as I've said. So we created a St. Patrick's celebration, like essentially a sub brand, and we've done this for Christmas and other bits and pieces that we call Paddy's, not Paddy's. Because since we've been in America, we've seen that don't get me wrong, we love that people celebrate Ireland. So it's first, you have to recognize that, albeit that sometimes it's celebrated imperfectly. And that sort of underpins why we created this program and activation. Because when we came here, Paddy's is what we would say Paddy's Day or St. Patrick's Day. But in America, it got the two T's, which to us is like a burger patty. It's not actual Paddy the saint. You know, so it's a bit tongue in cheek. But what we do with that program is ensure that we are also using it as a moment to really showcase the arts and the culture. So we fly over Irish bands. We have flown over an Irish storyteller. We've had Irish comedians flown over. We're doing programs and activations around the drinks of Ireland, the spirits of Ireland, and the produce of Ireland. So we use it as a moment to really showcase really cutting edge, leading edge Irish culture beyond going to a normal, and there's so many of these, like, but shitty Irish pubs where you get a terrible pint of Guinness, and it's green shamrocks and leprechauns on top of the morning to you, and all this type of stuff. So we really want to give our customers who cross our doors a real taste of what's going on back home, and also give them something different, you know, something that they're not otherwise going to get in a traditional Irish pub, or an Irish pub that doesn't capture what we feel is the authenticity of Ireland, you know.
Well, I highly appreciate that, and I look forward to that, and I hope that everybody who's tuning in goes out to your locations in which you have several locations at. Unfortunately, we have run out of time, so I will mention that you are open. You have locations in New York, Austin, and Washington, D.C. I'm hoping that you'll open one in Philadelphia as well. But for for our
I would
listeners,
not. Yeah, I wouldn't rule it out. I wouldn't rule it out.
okay. So for our listeners out there, where can they find you online and on the web?
Yeah, I mean, are you talking about me personally or the bars?
The bars.
The bars, yeah. So I would definitely follow our social media platforms. So we're on Instagram as the Dead Rabbit, and Facebook is the same name, and the same with TikTok. And we ensure that we partner with a lot of collaborators to really show the voices, the movers and shakers, and the influencers of Ireland. So I think it's a great account to follow. We also, on our website, you can sign up to our newsletter, because we're constantly doing collaborations. We've partnered with Mark Moriarty, who's a food personality of Ireland, and with him we're bringing over a chef every quarter, tying in with pagan Irish festivals. And we have a chef right now from Dublin who's coming over for Baltana, which is a pagan festival to celebrate. He's a 2-star Michelin chef in Dublin, and we're doing a really curated event with him. So with that, what's on, we're doing stuff. Literally, we're doing stuff all the time. And as you said, we're opening Austin in a couple of weeks, DC at the end of the year. We've a couple of other aces up our sleeve for cool stuff by the end of the year, and there will be more stuff in due course. So we're excited. It's an exciting time to follow us for sure.
All right. Well, Jack, thank you so much for joining us on Food Firms and Chefs.
Thanks for having me.
And
I said, our pleasure. Happy St. Patrick's.
Happy St. Patrick's to you too.
all right. And we will be right back after this short break.